All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for our Sunday edition at 3 o'clock. We're taking up the slot for the
Oh,
Cross and the Crescent. And we are in chapter, I believe, 27, verse 62. But before we get started, let's honor Eric in the Cross and the Crescent.
hold on, just 1 second. I got to do one more thing, and then we're all set. I forgot to do one thing. Gotta just be. All right, here we go.
All right, let me see if this works. You ready? All right, go for it.
All right, and just Xing that out. Hello, everybody. Get the next screen over. And we are back. Kufar? Hello?
I hear you, Paul.
Okay.
Sorry, I muted myself.
I did too. I'm sorry. I love the music.
I muted myself because I'm playing YouTube in my other computer. So hopefully I don't get lost and talk to myself for 10 minutes. So, okay. So you got it up on the screen. Okay. Oh, no, she's in there. Okay. Okay. So we're at 62, chapter 27. All right. So 62 says, is the one who answers the distress.
Sorry, say chapter. We're at chapter 27, chapter verse 62.
Yeah, we're at chapter of the ants. Okay, so 62 is the one who answers the distressed if he calls him and removes the evil that makes you to be viceroys on the earth. Is there a God with Allah? Little is what you remember. Okay. All right, 63 is the one who guides you in the darkness of the shore and the sea, and who sends forth the winds with good news between the hands of his mercy. Somebody's got an echo.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix that.
Oh, the joys of technology.
All right.
Okay. Is there a God with Allah? Now, notice it keeps repeating, is there a God with Allah? I mean, I don't know. Allah is exalted above what they partner with him. Is the one who begins the creation, then repeats it, who provides you from the heaven and the earth? I mean, how many creations did he get the creation wrong so that he repeated it? Is there a God with Allah? Dude, I'm getting tired of this Allah asking me if there's a God with Allah. I don't care. Say, bring your proofs if you were truthful. Say, no one knows the unseen in the heavens and the earth except Allah, and they do not feel when they will be raised.
Wait, what do you mean they don't feel when they will be raised? I mean,
I don't
no
know.
one knows the unseen in the heavens and the earth except God. So no one knows things that aren't seen. I can get that except God. Okay. And they, I mean, what are we talking about? Who is they here?
I don't know. Hey, question, Paul. Are you showing Osama's? Is that a PDF?
Yes,
Is that a PDF reader, or are you doing it on the browser?
that's on the browser.
Ah, because how are you highlighting it? I can't
That's
highlight
on
mine.
my I use what's it called?
You use like an extension?
Um no, I use Microsoft Edge, and it when it comes up when I have PDFs come up, you have the ability to highlight on the top. So
Ah, okay, because I can highlight web pages, but I'm not able to highlight and have it stay.
only with PDF. So you have to hit save at the end. So you have to hit your save at the end. That's how I can save it.
Yeah, because I'm on Brave, and I do have an extension for highlighting and writing on the web page, but for some strange reason it doesn't do it on a on the PDF.
You know, an Edge it does for sure, and Chrome it does as well.
Yeah, I'm weird because Brave is kind of part of Chrome or use the same engine. Okay, 66. Yet attaining their knowledge in the hereafter, yet they are in doubt about it. Oh, okay, so you're gonna get some knowledge in the hereafter? Wow.
Well, that's kind of contradictory. They attain knowledge, but they don't believe it. So who are they getting this knowledge from? I mean, there's a reason to doubt things you learn. And it's like you learn something and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. So you doubt it. So, and the people who give you knowledge that you don't believe in, you don't trust, you never go back to them as a source again. And then he calls them blind. Wait a minute. They got knowledge, they saw something was wrong with it, and they're blind about it. That says something about the person who was the source. Could
Not
it
a
be
very
Muhammad isn't worth trusting?
not a very good teacher. Now,
Well,
but
when
this
are
is
they
in
getting this? When are
but
they
this
getting
is in
this knowledge?
well, I don't know. Apparently it's in the hereafter because it says yet attaining their knowledge in the hereafter.
Right. So they're not getting it from Muhammad.
Or are they getting knowledge about the hereafter and then they're doubting it? Because the way I'm reading it says that they're obtaining their knowledge in the hereafter, meaning they're in the hereafter and they're attaining their knowledge. Or is Allah
Oh, that's a
trying to
good
say,
point.
or is Allah trying to say that even when they attain the knowledge of the hereafter, yet they are in doubt about it? Because if that's the case, then Allah should
Could this be
say,
another SL problem with
yeah,
knowing the difference between in and of? Of would be a huge difference.
right,
If they're dead and they're obtaining knowledge, then you wouldn't have reason for doubt. We'll put it that
right.
way. So something it has to instead of the word in, Allah doesn't know the difference between the word in and of. Maybe
Yeah.
again, I think it's another SL case.
Yeah, because by using the word "in," I'm getting the idea that I'm going to get some knowledge about the here when I'm in the hereafter, but yet I'm going to be in doubt about it. But
Well, I say SL. It's really really Arabic as a second language. So
right,
I'm not going to say what that sounds like.
okay. Yet they are blind about it. Okay, and those who became infidels said, "If we and our fathers were dust, will we surely come forth?" I guess that means, will we still be raised? Okay, because if you're dust, you're not going to come forth. Okay, we indeed have been promised this, we and our fathers before. This is only the legends of the ancients. Apparently, they've already been promised that when they die and become dust, they're going to come back or they're going to be raised. So they're like, dude, you're not
I mean,
telling
we've
me
been talking about
anything
the
different.
legends of the ancients before. He keeps coming back to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he wanted to hear stories from people that have been long before him, and he has this great need to repeat them. But this is supposed to be a book about prophecy, is was my understanding. I mean, it was supposed to be a book by a prophet, yet we haven't seen any prophecies. We've heard stories about things that happened before, but no prophecies, nothing about the future. Really, I mean, there's almost nothing about the future.
The next one is kind of comical. Say, walk on the earth. So see how the end was of the criminals. Oh, okay. Why would you tell people to walk on the earth? Where
Okay, that's
exactly are they supposed to walk on?
so that's present tense, right?
Yeah.
So see how the end was of the criminals. Another present tense, and just like
Yeah,
so,
but
if
my
you're
problem
walking,
is you're
are you going to
telling,
see criminals killed off, or what are you going to see?
but the
In my
problem,
city, we're having a problem with criminals. They're killing each other.
well, no, the end. Okay, so the first one starts off in the present tense. Say, walk on the earth, which I have a problem. Why would you tell people to walk on the earth? Where exactly are they supposed to walk? On
But then the
Mars?
was is past tense.
Yeah. Now, how
See,
would? Oh,
it's too conflicting. I mean,
yeah.
it's very poorly written. Yeah.
Well, you can't say see how because these people were dead, so you wouldn't be able to see how. You would be able to read or learn about what happened to people in the past. You can't come up to me, Paul can't come up to me, or Larry come up to me and say, hey, Kufophobia, did you see how the people died in 1800s? I'm going to tell you, no, I didn't see how they died. I wasn't there. I read about it. But Allah doesn't know that you're asking an asinine question about people that you would have no knowledge of because you weren't there. Okay, 70. And do not grieve for them, and do not be in distress from what they deceive. I don't know what that means. What did they deceive? We don't know. Did they deceive Allah? Okay, 71. And they say, when will this promise be if you were truthful? What promise? Now here
Who's a
comes
promise?
Ayah.
And when you make a promise, you make a promise to someone. We don't even know who the promise is made to. Who made the promise?
Right.
There's
Oh,
too much,
yeah.
too many vagaries.
And here comes Allah with his vagueness. Say perhaps
The God of
some of
perhaps strikes again.
yeah. Say perhaps some of what you hasten may be drawing near. I don't know. What exactly are they hastening to?
I mean, hastening is rushing.
Right.
Some of what you rush, some of what you
What
want, it doesn't, yeah, we don't know.
and surely your Lord is possessor of bounty to the people, but most of them do not give thanks. And surely your Lord is possessor of bounty to the people. Shouldn't it say for the people? The bounty for the people? To the people? Eh.
Well, if we look at bounty here as being, I'm gonna put it point blank. These are the goods that were stolen from other people that now Allah has. So to the people. So he's stolen it from whoever, and he's going to give it to his followers. But most of them do not give thanks. I don't know. It doesn't flow. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Okay, 74. And surely your Lord knows well what their chests hides and what they show. Okay.
Oh, okay. Let's put it this way. If we're talking about girls, please hide your chest, cover up. All right.
Or is he talking about chests like those things where you keep your clothes, maybe your
Yeah. I mean,
jewelry? I mean, it is the same word, meaning
well,
different
I
things.
would say in this case, we're probably not talking. Well, Allah talks a lot about gold. I mean, it's what they. Yeah, we did talk about criminals. we did talk about bounty. So now you're asking a really good question.
Okay, so 75, and there is nothing absent in the heaven and the earth. Now, notice how he goes from most of the time it's heavens.
Now we're down to singular again.
Now we're down to one heaven and the earth, except in a clear book. So is he
It's
trying to
definitely
say,
not the Quran we're talking about.
is he trying to say that there are things that are absent in his clear book? That's what I'm reading.
Well, you know what? That is a really good point.
Because he's saying there is nothing absent in the heavens and the earth. I'm sorry, the heaven and the earth, except in a clear book. So
I'm going to change this color. Yeah, this
so-
one's going to stick out for me.
so the exception to me, you know what? I'm gonna see. I'm because you're saving that. That's a good idea. I'm gonna before I get too far. I'm gonna go back and highlight these things so then when I start writing again, because I had to stop what I was doing, I'm gonna highlight these things because it's very interesting. So I'm reading this now. Maybe I'm wrong that there's nothing absent in the heaven and the earth, except there are things that are absent in a clear book.
But that would mean the clear book he's talking about isn't clear.
Right. And it's or that it's missing things because
Or it's
absent means
It's
it's
clearly
not there.
missing things.
Well, it's saying Allah is saying that there's things that are in the heaven and the earth that are not in the clear book. Okay. 76. Surely
Wait a minute. We want to make sure that people understand the book he keeps claiming is clear is the book we're reading.
Right.
So is that saying that the things that are in the Quran were taken out of heaven and earth and put in the Quran?
No.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think so. Yeah. Okay, so 76. Surely this Quran relates to the children of Israel, which we don't know who Israel is. Most of what they disagree about. Okay, but have you and I read so far in the 27 chapters what the children of Israel disagreed on?
We haven't learned anything about the children of Israel on here.
Right. It's just thrown around. The
talk
word.
about they don't know who Israel is. They don't know who Jacob was. They don't know Jacob had his name changed by God and became Israel. They don't know. They haven't described any place in here who the children of Israel are. This Quran, in order to be a prophet of the children of Israel, according to the Torah, which the Quran states is 100% accurate, you have to, in order to be a prophet, you have to be from among the people. Well, Muhammad wasn't, so he disqualified himself by saying you have to trust the Torah, and the Torah proclaims Muhammad an idiot because he's saying he's a prophet. Well, that would make him just an idiot, and I mean the Jews would have sat there and laughed, which is one of the reasons why he complained about getting mocked. Well, I mean that's exactly what it would be. All right.
Alrighty.
Surely the Quran relates to the children of Israel. Most of we don't know. Doesn't tell us anything about what they're disagreeing. I mean, we don't know that they disagreed on anything that they're talking about here because there's no statement of what they disagree about.
Right,
Most of what they do, I mean, we don't even know the small things or the big things.
Right. Okay, 77. And surely it is a guidance and a mercy to the believers. Okay.
I mean, I must point this out that this is 600 years after the death of Christ. And I mean, so yeah, there's probably still some things going on. Maybe some different sects, but if you're not going to tell us what the differences are, it's clearly a statement that the God perhaps doesn't know what's happening with the people of Israel because he can't tell you any specifics.
No, that's true. Yep. Kind of likes to leave you hanging. Okay, and 78. Surely your Lord judges between them by his judgments, and he is the dear, the knowing. So depend on Allah Surely you are on the clear truth. I don't know what that means.
Well, really, has there been anything clear?
No.
If you believe you're going to get clear truth from Allah, as you and if we've as long as we've been redoing this, there's been nothing clear. So
Yeah.
this is the God that's clear as mud. Why would you expect anything clear from him?
All right, 80. Surely you cannot make the dead to hear, and you cannot make the deaf to hear. Okay. The call, if they turn
Okay, well, that would mean he's so much less than Christ because
if they turn their backs,
Christ can do that.
you cannot make the deaf to hear the call if they turn their backs. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're deaf, you can't hear it. Doesn't matter if you turn your back.
Well, I'm saying that Christ can heal, and Christ has
Right.
made the deaf hear and the blind to see. We that's in the scriptures. But Muhammad is such a little person comparatively.
Not,
Yeah.
81 is kind of problematic to me.
Well, no. So basically, is that saying that the deaf can hear, but the only time they can't hear is if they turn their back?
Well, it's saying you can't make the deaf to hear. Okay, but they're deaf. So who's he talking to? He's talking to the people saying, "Hey, you guys don't have the power to make the deaf to hear the call."
It says that if they turn their backs, they're turning their backs on Allah.
Yeah.
So they're choosing not to hear him, probably because they think he's stupid. Because he's not making any sense. He's not clear.
And then we
So
go
in some
to
sense-
then we go to 81. And
Well,
you
wait, sorry, one more thing. So if I understand what you're saying, Paul, if they're talking that they're spiritually deaf because they turned their backs to Allah, then what does it mean? Are they spiritually dead because they turned their backs on Allah?
it would mean they're deaf because they're not hearing. Okay, it would mean that he can't make them hear because they choose not to hear. But again, if they think he's stupid because he's not clear when he communicates, I mean, he's not going to be able to change their minds because he's communicating he's stupid because he can't communicate clearly.
Right. So then the dead must be the spiritually dead.
Deaf.
So can you be spiritually dead in Islam? And if you are spiritually dead, how do you become spiritually alive?
Oh, I see what you're going. You're going back to verse 80. You cannot make the dead to hear. You cannot make the deaf to hear. Okay. So I would go back. You cannot make the dead to hear. You cannot make the deaf to hear. Wow. You're Kufar, did you see this? It really is talking. So the deaf are different than the dead is what I'm looking at. But,
it would appear to be so.
so these people are not okay. So he differentiates between the deaf and the dead. Or was there now? I have another question. I don't know Arabic, but I would be curious to see if there's a slight. Deaf and dead are one letter difference in English, but kind of wonder if Arabic has a problem. Cannot make the dead to hear. Well, dead wouldn't turn their backs on you. Or maybe he wanted to say, yeah. I just think it communicates Allah is a small God. That's and if that's what it's all about, the deaf can't hear him, but they definitely can't hear him if they turn their backs. But why would they turn their backs on him? And all I can say is if you don't communicate clearly, even to deaf people who can listen to sign language or something, I say listen with their eyes. It may sound kind of strange to say, but if you work with sign language and there is, simple communication. It's I shouldn't say simple. It's a code, and codes are complicated, but it's they will not. If you're not making any sense, they're not going to bother with you. I'll say that. That's why they would turn their backs. They don't trust you. That's the reason you turn your back on somebody. You don't think they're a threat is the other thing.
Not
But Allah likes to torture, so he's always a threat.
81 is kind of weird. And you are not to guide the blind from their errors. So what, you let the blind people keep making mistakes? You cause only those who believe in our verses to hear, so they are Muslims. Okay, Muhammad wrote.
No, that's kind of actually big. So only the believers believe in the verses. So that goes back to, if you are not a Muslim, how would you ever become a Muslim? Because you would have to believe in the Quran to be a believer, but yet you can't believe in the Quran because you're a disbeliever.
Well, Larry, that kind of brings me back to that last guy that I was talking to, that Muslim, Abdul. Notice that everything is he has to believe, he has to believe, he has to believe, which is probably why that other Muslim that was on the show with CP told CP that if he reads something in the Quran that goes against his brain, he just throws out his brain. So it's almost like they have to accept the problems in the Quran, because if they don't accept the problems in the Quran, then they know they're guaranteed they're going to get tormented in hell. No 72 virgins. Okay. Let's see what this is all about. Muhammad wrote about a speaking beast among the prophets. Well, we had speaking ants, we had speaking birds.
Wait. Are you saying an animal can be a prophet?
It just says that there is a beast that can speak.
Among the
A
prophets?
speaking beast that was hanging out with the prophet. So maybe he was a prophet in the training, in the making.
No, but that would not make him, according to Judaism, he couldn't be a prophet because he's not from among them.
Okay, 82. And when the word falls on them, we will cause a creature to come forth to them out of the earth to speak to them, that the people were not certain of our verses. Whoa. Do we know of any beast that's ever come out of the earth to speak to people who don't who are not certain about Allah's verses? How come a beast has not come out of the ground and spoken to me, or Paul, or Larry?
I mean, maybe it's a mole, a bunny rabbit. Think of all the creatures that you can see coming out of the earth. Hey, this Quran doesn't make any sense, people. Use your brain. It's not clear.
I mean, this is weird.
Okay, the people who are not certain of the verses. Hey, you know what? The Quran is not clear. A little mouse jumping up. Hey, out of the ground. A little rat, whatever. Any kind of creature you can think of. It says creature. You can think of any creature you can that burrows into the ground.
Right, but notice that Allah is not even capable of telling us what this creature is. I mean, do you know how many creatures there are on the earth? I mean, it's too numerous for me to name. So what creature is that?
But it's beyond Allah's description of. I mean, like I keep saying, he has a very, very small vocabulary. When you think about it, I mean, I'd be willing to bet that if someone did a vocabulary count, it would be maybe a 50th the amount of words, vocabulary words that you could find in the Bible. It's very, very limited. There's there's very few descriptive words. We're talking about a huge amount missing.
Now, I do understand that. I don't know what this creature is, but the only thing that I'm certain of, it's going to come from the ground. So like you said, maybe it's a mole, maybe it's a groundhog.
Yeah, okay. Well, Groundhog Day's coming up in a few months. Okay. So we'll call it a groundhog. The creature comes out. Hey, the people aren't certain of verses. Your verses, Allah. Okay. Maybe it's because you're stupid. I'm sorry.
Maybe it's a worm. I mean, I don't know. Okay.
Well, think about this, guys. In the Bible, Jesus kind of talked about this in the parable of the vineyard, where people were rejecting the Father and his messengers or whatever. And then Jesus talks about how God corrected this and then brought his son to bring all authority. But here, when the people are doubting the messengers, Allah brings a creature to prove that the messages are correct. So in the Bible, God brings his son, but Allah brings a creature. I find that pretty interesting.
And the thing, but Allah can't tell you what the creature is because obviously Allah doesn't know. So you're left to I guess you're left to guess. I mean it could be whatever you want it to be. Maybe it's Casper the ghost coming from the grave. Okay, so and a day we will gather from every nation a group who deny our verses. So they will be spread until when they come. Okay. Okay, so he's going to gather.
Well, you know what? This could be prophecy. And the day, which is future, we will, again, future, gather from every nation of a group of those who deny our verses.
So he's going to gather them, and then he's going to spread them out. Why would you gather and then say they will be spread? But I thought you were gathering them. When you gather people, don't you bring them together? So why would they be spread?
So he's gathering them for no purpose.
Right.
But then 84 says they're going to come together again.
Right. And until when they come. Okay. He says. Who says? Oh, I guess this is Allah. Did you deny my verses? And you did not comprehend them? Or what were you doing? What kind of nonsense is this? Did you deny my verses?
The best clarity you can get from Allah.
Yeah.
Allah doesn't know.
I mean, did you deny my verses? Yes. And you did not comprehend them. Okay.
Well, because they don't make sense, Allah.
Right. Or what you were doing. So I'm sorry, Allah, but I know what I'm doing. I'm reading your incoherent book. And the words fall on them because they were unjust. So they do not speak.
It doesn't even follow what we were talking about.
I mean, do the words fall on them because, okay, maybe this is beautiful in Arabic, especially when you're reciting, but it doesn't make sense when you read. Okay. Verse 86. I think we're almost finished with this chapter. Have they not seen that we made the night and that they may dwell in it and the day to see? But wait a minute, I can see at night.
But not made the night that they may dwell in it.
I mean, nowadays I go outside, man. I got these big old lamps from KUB. I got lights, so I don't need the day.
Have they not seen that we made the night that they may dwell? I mean, dwell has to do with living or staying someplace. This doesn't make. I mean, it doesn't even. It's not coherent here either. I mean, we're not.
But wait a minute. Is he implying that I could only dwell in something during the night? I mean, right now it's daytime. I'm inside my house, so I'm dwelling in my house during the day.
Maybe you didn't live in your tent because it was too hot during the daytime. I mean,
could be.
I thought it would be a shelter.
And apparently, surely in this are signs to believing people. What signs?
No signs here.
That Allah made the night so that I can sleep in my house.
And
the day for me to see, but if the moon is out, I can see. Now I may not be able to see far, but I can see. You know, I can go to the potty, like Muhammad did, and a day the trumpet will be blown. So panic.
So we got a day the trumpet will be blown. Now keep going. You'll see there's a problem here. Yeah. We've got future tense will be blown.
And a day the trumpet will be blown. So panicked is who? So panicked is who is in the heavens. Oh, now we're back to heavens. Allah, you keep going back from heaven to heavens, and who is on the earth.
So we have again. This is the common second language issue. they can't get the tenses correct. So this is where I say Allah is, whoever wrote this doesn't. It's Arabic as a second language at the best. I don't think it takes a genius to figure this out. That's the thing that bothers me the most.
Yeah.
I mean, how intelligent do you have to be? I mean, I'm a professional educator. These are the same problems I see in students who turn in, written work that, English is their second language. I'm just looking at, these are common problems you see in any second language learner. So, yeah.
And here's the funny thing. I mean,
And you're a second language learner.
I
You
am.
You see this. I mean, I'm
I
not
see this,
telling you it's not true.
which is really bad because sometimes I do make these mistakes. But I'm not English is not my native tongue. I'm Portuguese, and I would do a bad job because I didn't go to school. But my thing is, if Allah starts off using heavens, he can't go from heavens to heaven, then back to heavens, then back to heaven, then back to heavens. Make up your mind. And a day the trumpet will be blown. So, like you said, that's in the future. So panicked is who is in the heavens and who is in the earth. So people in heaven are panicked. Who? The angels? There's not supposed to be anybody in the heavens. They haven't been resurrected. Resurrected. And who is on the earth except whom Allah wills? And everyone will come to him humbly.
And so we go. So we got and a date, future will be blown. Okay, future, panicked, past tense, who is in the heavens, who is on the earth, except, okay, we're still with that past tense, whom Allah wills. Everyone will come to him humbly. That's present tense. Or future tense.
Yeah.
So it's our future. So you got future, past, future. And you see the heavens which you think are firm. That's present.
Yeah. Okay,
He's
so
got everything mixed up.
88, and you see the mountains which you think are firm. Okay, I don't know, man.
Present.
They will pass away as the passing of the clouds, the work of Allah who perfected everything. I don't know, that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, wait. Again, they will pass away as the passing clouds. So you have future tense. The work of Allah who perfected everything is past tense. Surely he is aware of what you... It doesn't make any sense.
Well, what did Allah perfect?
That's the point. It sounds like he perfected...
I think he perfected confusion.
I mean, you know what? That makes sense, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just because of what we're looking at, his claim of clarity is a claim of being a master of confusion.
Okay, surely he is aware of what you do. Okay, 89. Whoever comes with a good deed. Now, he also has a problem where he goes from deed to deeds. So he can't stay consistent. So he will have better than it. Better than what? A good deed? And they become secure. Okay, so he's talking about a he, which is singular. And then he jumps to the they, which is plural. And they become secure from the panic on that day. Okay. And whoever comes with the evil, so their faces were poured into the fire. How do you pour somebody's face into the fire? I mean,
Cut their heads off.
Yeah, but I was kind of like saying that faces are like liquid. You can pour out the face.
That might mean that Allah doesn't know the difference between solid, liquid, and gas.
I mean, could be. Will you be rewarded except for what you were doing? Surely I am commanded to serve the Lord of this country, okay, which he made forbidden. What? Surely I am commanded to serve the Lord of this country, which he made forbidden. So why is Allah telling somebody to serve the Lord of this country, which he made forbidden? Allah is telling somebody to do something that he forbade.
So who's being commanded here?
I don't know.
We don't know who's being commanded. We don't know who the Lord of this country is.
I mean, it clearly can't be Muhammad, because then that's Allah telling Muhammad to serve a country, to serve the Lord of a country that is forbidden. So who's he talking to? And to him everything, okay. And I am commanded to be of the Muslims. Who?
Who is this I?
I don't
We don't
know.
know if it's Muhammad.
Now,
Surely I am commanded to serve the Lord of this country, which he made forbidden. The country is the country forbidden, or the Lord of the country forbidden?
I don't know.
And to him everything I am commanded. But it's forbidden. So why are you commanded to do something
That is forbidden.
Those are contradictory statements.
Yeah. And who is this person that supposedly is being told or commanded to serve the Lord of this country, which he made forbidden?
Oh, and don't forget, now I keep going. And to recite the Quran, so whoever is guided, so surely he will be guided himself, and whoever goes astray, so say, surely I'm not the one. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This whole verse, these two verses together, it doesn't. Oh, wait, are they going to say it's clear? The clear. I mean, they say, surely I am.
Yeah, I don't know.
This doesn't. This is just sad.
So surely
Well, it can't be. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so surely he will be only guided for himself, and whoever goes astray, so say, surely I am only of the warners. Notice that Muhammad never claims to be a prophet. Very strange.
So if this is Muhammad, if we take this as Muhammad, a singular person who is okay, so surely we're just gonna put Muhammad there where the word I is. So surely Muhammad is commanded to serve the Lord of his country, of this country, which he made forbidden. Who made it forbidden? Did Muhammad make it forbidden? I mean, if we start out with a name there, surely I am commanded to serve. Okay, so surely Muhammad is commanded to serve the Lord of this country, which he made forbidden. That would make Muhammad making the Lord of the country forbidden. Now, if that Lord of the country is Allah, he made Allah forbidden. And to him, everything Muhammad is commanded to be of the Muslims. It's very, very.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just bad communication.
How could Muhammad be of the Muslims when he was apparently the first Muslim?
This is though that gets broken up. We've had Abraham be of the Muslims. We've had, it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, it's very confusing, and the way the Muslims try to wiggle their way out is they will say that Muhammad was the first Muslim in that group of people. Abraham was the first Muslim to his people. Noah was the first Muslim to his people. Moses was the first Muslim to his people. And the Egyptians were the first Muslims to their people. I don't know. All right.
Right. I understand that. But is this saying that Muhammad is to be commanded of other Muslims in his time period? Or is he saying that he's commanded to be of the other Muslims throughout history?
It doesn't make any sense, no matter how I look at it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just, I think the point with Dr. Kufar saying is that the claim doesn't have any merit.
Right. All right.
Well, has anything had any merit yet?
Right. Let's finish this bad boy. 93. And say, the praise be to Allah. He will show you his signs. Okay. So you will know it. Okay. And your Lord is not unaware of what you do. Okay.
It makes no sense. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make
All
any
right.
sense.
What's the next one here?
We're down to 28, the narrative.
The narrative. Woohoo, what a name of Oh, and of course we start off on the bad foot as always.
Yeah, we got to have a word that doesn't make any sense.
The first verse, TSM. 3 Arabic letters that don't make sense.
Only Allah knows, because he's just so clear.
Yeah, three non-Arabic. Let me see. What does he say? I was just guessing. A word containing three Arabic letters without any meaning. Okay, I almost got it right. Oh my God! Here we go again. The story of Moses. I think Allah's book, 50% of it is just rehashing the same shit
Wait,
over and
you
over again.
missed verse 2. You got to read verse 2 so we can laugh.
Yeah. Those are the verses of the clear book. Can somebody tell me what TSM means?
We're not okay. I'll say this. Those. What book were you reading? Because it wasn't everything that we've read in the previous chapter. But I mean, I haven't seen anything clear, so I don't know what you were reading.
I have no clue. Okay, the story of Moses and Pharaoh is copied from the Bible and corrupted once again. There is no record that an Egyptian existed by the name of Haman, especially at the time of Moses. Rather, he lived in the Babylonian kingdom.
Yeah,
See
this is
also the
Haman.
book.
Haman
Yeah.
is what the name is. Okay.
See also the book of Esther from the Bible. Okay, verse 3. We will recite to you some of the news of Moses and Pharaoh with the truth to the believing people. Surely Pharaoh exalted himself in the land and made its people into sects. I don't know if that's true. Weakening a group of them, slaughtering their sons and sparing their women. Surely he was of the Vandals. Okay.
Well, hey, I will say in verse 3, I do think that the Quran got this right. That it that says that we will recite to you some of the news. That seems to be pretty consistent throughout the Quran. That we only get some of the news.
Yeah, the good
Get a
stuff is
tidbit.
the good stuff
But
you have
there's
to go
no
over. The good stuff we have to go over to the book that's corrupted to get all the good
Well, it's
news.
not corrupted. I mean, the Quran doesn't say it's corrupted.
Yeah.
It's just people want to believe that in order to defend their little faith.
Now I don't understand what number 4 says. Surely Pharaoh exalted himself. I got that part, and the land, and made its people into sects. I don't recall.
Why would
doing
Pharaoh?
that.
I mean, that just doesn't make sense. There's no reason why.
Right.
I mean, a king
Weakening a
unites
group,
people.
weakening a group of them, slaughtering their sons. But the Israelites were not his people. They were his
And
slaves.
this is what they don't know.
Yeah.
This is where Islam goes nuts.
And
They
sparing
think
the women
Jews are Egyptians.
Yeah, so they were vandal. And we desired to show favor to those who were weakened on the earth, and to make them leaders, and to make them heirs, and to establish them in the land. And we showed Pharaoh and Haman and their troops among them what they were fearing. Okay. Absolutely nothing.
What they were fearing. Really, you had to show them what they were afraid of. Are you serious? You had to show them what they were afraid of. But I mean, you go back a little ways, and you go back to verse 4. Slaughtering their sons, sparing their women. Surely he was of the Vandals. Slaughtering. Okay. You had to show them that they feared being slaughtered, and like they didn't know. This is again very, very small God, very, very illiterate writer.
All right. And we revealed to Moses, Moses' mother, that breastfeeds him. Now, did I really need to know that his mother breastfed him? I mean, isn't that what she's supposed to do to her child? Okay, that breastfeed. So when you fear for him, so cast him into the river, and do
So we're
not
going back to the baby story.
and do not fear and do not grieve. Surely we will bring him back to you and make him of the messengers. So the family of Pharaoh picked him up. No, it was his daughter. There was no family of Pharaoh hanging out at the Nile. So they picked him up so that he may become an enemy to them, and they grieve. Surely Pharaoh and Haman and their troops were sinners.
Well, you never. I mean, it's just Imagination.
It's a Syriac, it's a word of Syriac origin that means sinners. But in Arabic, nobody knows what it means. All right. Muhammad confused the daughter of okay. Muhammad confused Pharaoh's daughter with his wife. See, that's a
Oh
big
wow, he doesn't know the difference between his wife and his
and
daughter, and
Pharaoh's
that says something
woman
about Allah.
and Pharaoh's woman said, "He is the pleasure of the eye to me and to you. Do not kill him. Perhaps he will be useful to us, or we may take him as a son."
We, huh?
And they did not feel. What the hell? And
What
they did
didn't they
not.
feel?
What the hell does that even mean? And they did not feel.
They didn't feel like he was worth their
Well,
time.
I guess I don't know.
I don't know.
And the heart of Moses' mother became empty, that she almost exposed him. Were it not that we tied on her, what did Allah tie on her?
I have no clue.
Okay, were it not that we tied on her heart, that she will be of the believers. Okay.
Well,
She
what did she
said
almost expose?
that Moses was her son, because Pharaoh was killing all the males of the Israelites. And she said to his sister, "Follow him." Wait a minute, but Moses has already been found. He's with the Egyptians.
This doesn't. I mean,
Yeah,
again, we got a chronological
yeah.
problem because Allah is chronologically impaired.
I mean, now in the other version, it was correct. She followed and she watched Pharaoh's family, whatever. So she watched him from alongside and did not feel. What is it with this did not feel? Did not feel what? What kind of
And
crap is
again,
this?
okay, wait a minute. The word "they" doesn't make sense. She said to his sister.
Yeah.
So neither the mommy or the sister, they don't feel. Yeah, I'm sorry. You feel when you're dropping your kid off because you feel like their child's going to be murdered, and the little girl has seen other people probably be murdered just for the fact they're males, babies being males. Yeah, you can't tell me the little girl doesn't feel.
See, in the previous verses, and they did not feel would be correct because we're reading about Pharaoh and his wife. Okay. But this one here, we're reading about Moses' sister is following to see, what happens.
Well, it'd be and her mother because you have to.
Right.
And she said they works only in that respect, but it doesn't make any sense to say they didn't feel.
Okay, I guess maybe we could say that they did not feel is referring to Moses' mom and his sister, but we don't know what Allah is trying to say, and they did not feel. Okay. And we forbid him the breastfeeding from other women before that. Before what?
I have no clue.
So she said, "Will I point out to you the family of a house who will take care of him for you, and they will be an advisor to him?" What the hell is he talking about?
We don't even specifically know that this is Moses' sister because it's a bland statement. There's nothing saying that his sister is saying that. So there's problems there.
So it's talking
But
about
then
verse 3.
Allah can't give us any specifics because he doesn't know the story.
And then he jumps, excuse me, he jumps to 13. So we returned him to his mother, so her eyes may be pleased, and she will not grieve, and she might know that the promise of Allah is true. But most of them do not know. Okay, what is he talking about? Is he talking about that his mother became the one who breastfed Moses while he lived with the Egyptians? Did he return Moses to his mother after he grew up? I don't have
I
a
think it's
clue.
another example of Allah not having to keep a promise because nobody knows he made a promise.
Okay. When he reached his strength and became settled, we gave him wisdom and knowledge, and likewise we rewarded the doers of good. Okay. I think what he was trying to say is that his mother became his nursemaid, or breastfed him for the daughter of Pharaoh, but that's okay. All right. 15. And
But that's
he,
kind of a huge hole, though,
I
because
know.
to me, when I read that, it sounds like um, Moses was put back in the care of his mother, and the Egyptians had nothing to do with him, which
Exactly.
defeated the purse, or which defeated the reason why he was sent with the Egyptian in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, you got a good point there. You could say that. Okay. And he entered the city at a time when its inhabitants did not notice him. Okay. So he found in it two men fighting. And this
We would
is
know who he is here, and when he reached the strength. We don't specifically know this is Moses, do we?
no, but I mean, we know better than Allah, so we know it's talking about Moses.
Okay.
Okay, so and Moses, okay, and he entered the city at a time when its inhabitants did not notice him, because Moses, was trying to, well, they wouldn't know who he was anyway, because, as far as they thought, he was dead. So he found in it two men fighting. Okay, now is this true? Because in the Bible, I believe he found an Egyptian guy beating the crap out of one of his,
Yeah, one of the Jews. Yeah.
yeah, one of the Jews. This is
He
of
was
his
basically killing
threats,
him. Yeah.
and this is his enemy. So it looks like he's saying that he found two men fighting. One was an Egyptian and one was an Israelite, but they weren't fighting. The Israelite was getting the schmucks smacked out of him, or beat, whipped, punished. So he was called for help. Nobody called Moses for help. So he was called for help by one of his sect against him who was of his enemies. So Moses struck him. What's number 3? I had forgotten. The enemy. So Moses struck the enemy, so he killed him. He said, "This is of Satan's work. Surely he is an obviously misleading enemy." Okay. He said, "My Lord, surely I have done an injustice to myself, so forgive me." So he forgave him. Ooh, Allah is forgiving. Surely he is the forgiving, the merciful. He said, "My Lord, because you have graced on me, so I will not be a backer to the criminal."
Who's the criminal here?
No clue. No clue. I'm assuming it's the Egyptians. So he became fearful and vigilant in the city. Why would he become fearful? He's got Allah on his side. So when the one that he helped the day before called out to him, Moses said to him, "Surely you are an obvious seducer." So when he desired to seize the one who is an enemy to them, I don't know who he's talking about. He said, "Oh, Moses, do you desire to kill me as you killed a soul yesterday? Do you only desire to become a powerful in the land?" What? A powerful what? And you do not desire to become of the good? None of this makes sense. And a man from the remotest part of the city came running. He said, "Oh, Moses, surely the leaders are consulting to kill you." What leaders? The leaders of the Jews? "So get out. Surely I am an advisor to you." So he got out from it in fear, vigilant. He said, "My Lord, deliver me from the unjust people." And when he journeyed towards Midian, Midian, he said, "Perhaps my Lord will guide me in the right way." Dude, do you want to trust the Lord that you don't know if he's going to guide you in the right way? Or do you want to trust Jesus, who always guides you in the right way?
This is really confusing. Why? I mean, perhaps you. I mean, what kind of faith do you put in the God of perhaps? I mean, you have to be insane to put trust in the God of perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps he'll guide you. Perhaps he won't. Perhaps. I mean, why would you trust this thing, this little god?
I wouldn't. I got a better chance of trusting my dog to protect me than Allah guiding Moses to the right path. And when he
I mean, a black
arrived,
dog would do better
I
because,
know.
I mean, at least the dog you can trust.
Yeah. And when he arrived at the water of Midian, he found there a nation of people watering. No, he found the women at the well. It wasn't a nation of people.
Well, that's again Moses. I mean, this is just Muhammad. He doesn't get story straight.
And apart from them, he found two women who were keeping back. What the hell does that mean? He said, "What is the matter with you?" They said, "We will not water until the shepherds have left, and our father is a very old man."
Well, they were being bullied, but again, Muhammad doesn't get the story. So,
Right.
yeah.
So he watered for them, then turned away to the shade. Okay.
So he let the bullying continue,
Yeah.
and he just helped them out. He didn't do anything.
So he said, "My Lord, surely I am poor, for whatever good you send down to me." It makes no sense. So one of them came to him, walking bashfully. She was giggling. He was such a handsome guy. She said, "Surely my father invites you so that he may reward you a wage for watering for us." Now, was he getting the water, or what was he watering for them? I mean, you get water. Is that what you call when you go to the well and you get water? You call it watering? I mean, I don't know. I've never had a well. So when he came to him and related to him the narrative, he said, "Do not be afraid. You are delivered from the unjust people." One of them said, "One of who?" I guess the daughters. "Oh, my father, hire him. Hire him and make him our bodyguard. He can bodyguard me at night."
Oh, my father, hire him. Surely he'll be the best of whom you hired, the strong.
I think somebody's got a crush on Moses.
Yeah.
Maybe she saw his bicep. In the following verses, Moses marries one of the two daughters. This contradicts Exodus 1:16, which clearly teaches that she was one of the 7 daughters. Additionally, Moses was not required to work in order to marry his wife. Now, which is the story of one of the Bible?
This is Jacob, the story of Israel.
Okay, yeah, he had to work for it.
Yep.
And wasn't he married to the wrong one after he was promised?
He got Leah first.
Yeah.
The Laban,
Yeah.
japped. Basically, it's what we call it. He
got duped.
He got duped.
Yeah.
Don't get drunk before you go
Yeah.
into the wedding ceremony. And in the case of this wedding ceremony, it was you go to bed. If you get drunk before you go in and you have sex with a woman, and that's the wedding ceremony, and you wake up and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in the bed with the wrong woman." Sorry, you got drunk. That was your fault.
Okay, which clearly teaches she was one of the 7 daughters. Additionally, Moses was not required to work to marry his wife. Muhammad confuses Moses with Jacob. Oh, I should have read that part. That would have given me my answer to my question. Who worked 7 years in order to marry his wife. Okay. He said, "Surely I desire that you have sex with one of these, my 2 daughters, that you should be employed by me for 8 years. Woohoo. So if you fulfill 10, what the hell? You hire me for 8 years, but I got to work 10? Oh, man, somebody's getting gypped here. It is of your own doing. Okay, so first of all, I have to work for 8 years. But he says, but if you work 10 years, that's on you, bro. I only told you to work for 8. Now, why would Moses work for 10 years? I don't think Moses is dumb.
Well, I mean, it implies that either Muhammad, who is supposed to be a salesman, doesn't count very well, doesn't know his numbers very well. Again, he's supposed to be a salesman. I don't know what if you don't know numbers very well, you can't be a good salesman. I'm sorry, you just can't. You might have a
Okay.
silver tongue, but you can't make money.
Number 4, it says Korah, non-Arabic word of Hebrew origin and modified. Okay, so, okay. For I do not desire a hardship for you. You will find me, if Allah wills, among the good. Okay.
Well, hey, who is he here that's speaking?
I think that's the father of the two daughters.
Okay,
I
so
think.
here's
I could be wrong. I don't know.
This would be Moses' father-in-law.
Right. I guess he's trying
okay.
to. I think he's trying to reassure him. Hey, we're good people here. Don't worry about it. You know. He said.
No, wait. I see why you're asking this. We run into trouble here. Okay, he said, surely I desire that you have sex. So we start out with he said is the father-in-law. All right. I desire that you have sex with one of these, my daughters. So if you fulfill 10, it's of your doing, for I do not desire hardship for you. You will find me if Allah will. Okay, then he said, this is between me and you, whichever of two terms I fulfill. Then now we have Moses being who's the he again. I fulfill, there will be no wrongdoing against me. And Allah is the clear guy. Allah's clear only in that he's not clear. Wow.
Well, no, I was going a little different with this because, like, when I've been doing my clubhouse room on Joseph, every time that there's information that they don't know, they always go to the tafsirs and say, oh, it's this, this, and this. Well, here, I want to know what the tafsir says about who this person is and who these daughters are. If they don't know, if the tafsirs don't know, then it proves that everything that the tafsirs are saying is stolen from the Bible. So if it's not stolen from the Bible, the tafsirs, the authors of the tafsirs should know who these people are. Sorry, I hope that makes sense.
It makes better sense than the Quran.
So basically, I want to know if the tafsirs don't know who this father is and who these daughters are. I want to know why the tafsirs don't know.
Because they don't read the Bible. Now,
well, that's what I'm saying.
They can know. That's the point, though. The only way the tafsirs can have that, the authors of the tafsirs can have the knowledge, is if they go to the Bible.
But they can't because this story is about Jacob. It's not about Moses, so they will not find that information in the Bible about this.
Yeah.
So if they don't know who these people are, that proves that the tafsirs are stealing from the Bible.
Well, of course they do. And then I don't understand why Moses would say, whichever of the two terms I fulfill, but there was only one term, and that was to work for 8 years. The 10 years was not a term. I'm not quite sure because it just says.
It sounds like he got the two stories mixed up, the story of Jacob and the story of Moses so mixed up, he doesn't know what is up and what is down.
Because the Father clearly says that you should be employed for me for 8 years.
But in Jacob's term, in Jacob's
7.
life, he serves 2 terms.
Right, 14 years.
So that's why I say he doesn't. Muhammad is so messed up, or whoever's writing this is just so messed up. They don't know, again, up and down, or they don't know what's up. They don't know what's down. They don't know what's left. They don't know what's right. They really don't have a clue. Thank you, Allah, for being so unclear and as mud.
Did we finish verse 28?
Now go ahead.
He said, this is between you and me, whichever of the 2 terms I fulfill. There was no 2 terms. There will be no wrongdoing against me. And Allah is the guardian of what we say. Okay. So when Moses had fulfilled the term and departed with his family, he saw a fire on the mountainside. All right, this should be
Wait,
fun.
okay. So okay. So that the only thing that's right here is Allah that Moses meets his wife before he has the encounter with the burning bush. But again, Allah is so chronologically impaired. He's mixed up Jacob and Moses. Oh my gosh. I keep saying this is evidence of a God with traumatic brain injury.
Well,
Yeah.
that would be the only logical conclusion, because I mean,
Which implies that it's not a God, by the way.
yeah.
So yeah.
Which is why I tried to tell that Muslim in the room. I said this book is clearly written by men who can't even remember what they said a few verses up. All right, so he saw a fire on the mountainside. Now, wasn't he still living with his in-laws when he saw the burning bush?
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So here he departed with his family. So he left.
Well, he departs because he's shepherding the flocks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but he didn't shepherd with his family.
You don't depart well, you can't. You're watching over flocks. You're not doing that with your family nearby.
Right. Especially since you usually have to do that at night. Okay, so he saw fire on the mountainside. He said to his family, "Stay. Surely I see a fire." And where there's a fire, perhaps I may bring you news from it. Now, what kind of news is a fire supposed to give you? Or a brand from the fire. Now it's a brand. Before they used another words. Perhaps you will be warmed. Oh, they must have been really cold. Moses didn't know how to create a fire. Oh man, that's terrible. Even I know how to create a
why
fire.
would you go someplace to see a fire and bring back? I mean, it's just the stuff that doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's like saying like you said, the only thing that would make sense from this is if you believe that Moses can't start his own fire.
Oh yeah, because clearly it says, I'll bring you back a piece of burning coal or amber, so that you can be warm. Because I don't know how to make a fire. I'm sorry, honey. You married me, but I'm just such a dof. I'm going to let you freeze out here. All right, so 30. So when he came to it, he was called from the right side of the valley, and the blessed spot from the tree.
Wait a minute. Desert, right? Right side of the valley. Okay, valley's not in a desert. In the blessed spot from the tree. Okay, we're not in the where are we? Wow.
I don't know. That, O Moses, surely I am Allah. What the heck? All right, that's a little different than the other one. Okay. So when he came, so when he came to it, he was called, from the right side of the valley and the blessed spot of the tree. That, O Moses. Now, I don't know why they threw that. They threw that in there because it makes no sense. Okay. Oh, Moses, surely I am Allah. Doesn't Allah know if he's Allah? The Lord of the worlds.
And this is the third retelling that we've had in a few chapters.
Yes. I mean, does God normally go around saying, surely I am Allah. Surely I am Allah.
And this part, we go back to, keep going because this is the stuff that makes me laugh. I'm sorry.
I would, if I'm God and I'm Moses, and I'm talking to Moses, I'm not going to say, surely I am Allah. I would say, I am your God. Whatever my name
Allah
is.
doesn't know if he's God.
Yeah, he doesn't know. That's what this implies to me. If indeed that is as close to the translation as can be, that Allah is saying surely. And you know what? This is what, 28:30? Let's go see what it says in Islam Awakens. 28/30. Okay, so let's look at the Arabic. But when he came to it, he was called from the side of the valley, the right in the place even, The blessed from the tree that, oh Musa, indeed I am Allah. Okay, see now this one would make sense. Indeed I am Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Some say, verily I am God. Even I am Allah. Somebody was trying to copy I am that I am. That's the
Poor
Pictol.
Popeye, he got plagiarized.
That's the Pictol translation that says, "O Moses, lo, even I am Allah." Okay, yeah, these translations are funny. Okay, and throw down your rod. So when he saw it shake as if it were a jinn. Okay, now this one keeps in relationship to the other one that we read where it said a jinn. Not that
So
it, not
I
that
gotta
it's not a
ask you,
snake.
not many people
Yeah.
can imagine a rod becoming a jinn is supposed to be a demon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So a rod shakes and becomes a demon.
But how would he even know how a demon shakes? I mean,
Well,
that
if
would
you're
assume.
Allah
I mean,
with Satan,
wouldn't that imply that Moses had seen a jinn before, and that he would know what a jinn is? Okay, I mean, even if we replace jinn with a demon, how would Moses know how a demon shakes? He turned away and fled and did not return.
I got another laugh here. I'm sorry.
Okay, so
you know those videos where they show the Muslims there. What are they? The ones that do up the whirling dervishes. Does this not proclaim that all the whirling dervishes are acting like they're possessed with jinn?
I mean, could be.
It says something. Boy, does it say something.
But here's funny. Now he turned away and fled and did not return. But yet Allah is talking to him. So
yeah, that's what happened the last time too.
yeah.
It's funny.
So is Allah projecting his voice, or is he still in the bush? Or did Allah run after Moses and say, hey, slow down, buddy? Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't say, "Hey, come back here."
Right. Oh, Moses, come and do not be afraid. But wait a minute, it says, and did not return.
He didn't return.
Oh, Moses, come.
This is chronological impairment that you can find from TBI.
Oh, Moses, come and do not be afraid. Surely you are of the faithful.
Well, the last time we read this, the come wasn't there, right? Because it just said, because I remember we were talking about it, about how, God was omnipresent, because it just said Moses left and never returned. And then Allah was talking to him, but this time it says come.
But he didn't return, so I mean, this is just either way. I don't remember if come was there or not, but it just
it
just shows you Allah doesn't know chronological order again, because he flees and he doesn't return, and now Allah has taken the story. Now that the story is totally doesn't make sense. Oh, come and be not afraid. Surely you're the faithful. Wait a minute. Did he run before you talk to him? It's like he has to add more because the Moses ran away. It's like he doesn't realize, whoever's writing this story doesn't realize there's such a chronological impairment, it doesn't make sense, and he has to add stuff. This is like filler. It's just, yeah, it's so poorly written.
No, the only time I like filling if it's inside my donuts.
Had apple cinnamon the other day. That was a good filling.
Yeah. I had a donut this morning from yesterday. Okay. Insert your hand into your pocket. Okay. Insert your hand into your pocket. Now, this one kind of makes sense. I don't remember what the other one, because it didn't make sense.
Yeah, the other one was, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
We should think about which.
It will come out white without evil and fold your wings towards you from the fear. What the
Wait a minute.
hell?
Does Moses now have wings?
I think there was one that he had one wing.
Yeah, I don't think that was. This doesn't make sense.
Okay. So these are two proofs from your Lord to Pharaoh and his leaders. But wait a minute. Moses was not anywhere near Pharaoh. Moses
Okay,
is
so
in.
the issue here is see, this is where again chronological impairment. Allah. Again, the chronologically impaired Allah doesn't know this part of the story. So what happens is Moses is called before the burning bush. God tells Moses to throw down his rod. It becomes a snake. All right. Not a jinn, not a demon. And Moses does what he's told. He puts his hand into his breast pocket. Basically, closest thing you can call it today would be like if you're wearing a suit, you put your hand inside the suit. We're not talking about your suit pockets. You're right inside the suit, and you pull your hand out, and it was leprous. You put your hand back in the suit, you pull it out, and the leprosy was gone.
Now, Paul, let me ask you a question. When Moses was at the burning bush, did he throw down his rod and it become a snake?
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
So he did it twice.
So now, wait a minute. So this happened. This is where Allah is mistaken. So he gives this credit. If you listen here, he talks about for Pharaoh and his leaders. So this is where Allah is really messed up. So the first purpose was so he could talk to the leaders of the Israelites, and they would recognize his authority. So he goes to the leaders of the Israelites and he shows them these signs, and he's to tell him the name of God. I am who I am. All right. Plus these signs. And they believe him. Then he goes to Pharaoh and shows them these signs. And the rod that becomes a snake eats their snakes. The wizard, what do you want to call them? Sorcerer snakes. But again, these signs were so they're again they get it so messed up. It's just sad.
Yeah, I didn't recall Moses, his staff turning into a snake at the burning bush. I thought it was only in front of Pharaoh.
No, he does it in front of I'll find it just a second.
All right, while you're doing that, okay, your hand will come out wide without evil, and fold your wings towards you, and fold your wings toward you from the fear. Okay, I don't know what that means. So these are the two proofs from your Lord to Pharaoh and his leaders. Surely they were a transgressing people. Now this is the problem here. He's talking about the people in the past.
Correct.
But it can't be in the past because Moses hasn't even gone to them yet. So Allah should say, surely they are a transgressing people. Because to say that they were implies that they are no longer a transgressing people. But
So I've
Moses
got it.
hasn't.
I'm sorry. So Exodus 4. And he's in front of the burning bush. We're in Exodus 4. Sure it's Exodus 4. Yeah, I'm sure the king. He's talking to God. He's in front of the burning bush, and Moses answers and says, "Behold, they will not believe me." When he's being told to go before the Egyptians, they won't listen to my voice. For they will say, this is Exodus 4, verse 1, and the Lord has not appeared unto you. And the Lord said unto him, what is in your hand? He said, a rod. And he said, which is God, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, which is again, Moses cast it on the ground. It became a servant, and Moses fled from before it. And Lord said unto Moses, put forth your hand and take it by the tail. So I think he heard this part where Moses fled because the rod, this is where they got it so messed up. So that because the rod becomes a snake, Moses runs away a little bit,
Right.
All right. But they say he never returns.
Right.
Yeah. So Moses comes back, picks up the rod, grabs the snake by the tail, all right, and picks it up. And again, this is and the Lord said to Moses, put forth your hand, take it by the tail, and he puts forth his hand, caught it, and it became a rod in his hand, that they may believe the Lord, the God of their fathers, and the God of Abraham. So this is again, the purpose was to take these signs and originally to talk to the leaders of the Israelites. And that's what Moses does. So that's yeah.
Okay.
So
Right.
from reading this real quick, is Moses in front of the Pharaoh and his leaders now?
What are we talking about when you're reading the Quran here?
Yes.
I would say when you're reading this, we get down, he hasn't been in front of Pharaoh yet, because you get, so these two are proofs from your Lord to Pharaoh and his leaders. So it hasn't happened yet, the way I read that.
Okay. I was just clarifying. So I think it'll be a little bit clearer when we go. I was just making sure there wasn't a contradiction there.
Yeah, but the problem is also the verse says, Allah says that they were a transgressing
So
people.
they're no longer sinning anymore. They were a sinful people. Now they're not.
Yeah, but that's not true. Is he talking about the Egyptians? Like I said, Moses hasn't gone to Pharaoh yet.
Yes, so it's not clear. Yeah, and it's
So
bad enough.
so they would
were
still
a
be,
sinful people. Now they're,
yeah.
if
So
you were,
they
and
are
that's
still transgressing
yeah.
because Moses hasn't given his message. Okay, so then Moses says, he said, "My Lord, surely I have killed a soul among them, so I fear they might kill me." Okay, and my brother Aaron is more eloquent in speech than I. So send him with me as an assistant to affirm me. Okay, Paul, you're gonna have to continue.
My brother Aaron's more eloquent in speech than I, because remember, Moses had speech impediment. He stuttered. So send me with an assistant to affirm me. That's not language Moses would ever use. He's not being affirmed. It is God that is being affirmed. So this is the mistake. Surely I'm afraid that they will deny me, which is something Moses was concerned about. That's why he had the signs. And it hadn't, and the speech was his big concern. He said, "We will strengthen your arm." Okay. "We will strengthen your arm with your brother, and will give authority to both of you, so that they will not reach you." Give authority to both of you is a problem here, because in this story of, there's never ever, it doesn't happen in the Bible. Aaron doesn't get authority. The authority was given to Moses, if anything, and he communicated to Aaron, and Aaron did what Moses communicated to him. So the only time Aaron has authority is as a chief priest, and that's over the priest. But again, he's doing what Moses told him. So this is just this part here. They will not reach to you. Does not make any sense. We will strengthen your.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had a little tickle.
No, I had one earlier. That's why I went mute for a few
So
minutes.
here's the funny thing. Allah. Now I'm looking at the Hebrew, right, for Exodus 4, and clearly it mentions the word, the Hebrew word, tasara. Okay, and it says to be struck with leprosy, to be leprous.
Yes.
How come Allah doesn't know what leprosy is?
Well, that's what I keep saying. They don't seem to know. And my bet is that there's no leprosy in the
Right.
where this desert god lives.
Yeah, because I mean the Jews knew what leprosy was. I mean Jesus
Egypt knew
healed
what leprosy was.
right. Jesus healed the man that had leprosy. Now I isn't it also now I'm thinking of the movie of Moses, but didn't his mother and sister come down with leprosy? That they were sent to the leopard colony?
But I think that leprosy is in some ways geographically it's very limited in it's
Yeah,
not
but see,
something that
but that would still be a problem because that shouldn't affect Allah, the all-knowing.
well I mean this is what it Allah can't know anything because he doesn't give us details.
Okay.
So Allah is clearly the unknowing and the undetailed communicator.
So where did we leave off?
we are
36?
we're on 35. Just finishing here.
Okay.
With our signs, both of you, whoever follows you are the victorious. Both of you, whoever follows you are this again not clear. So 36.
Huh. So when Moses came to them, so notice up to this point, Moses hadn't come to the to Pharaoh and the people. So when Moses came to them with our clear signs, they said, "This is nothing but forged sorcery, and we have never heard the like of it among our ancient fathers." And Moses said, "My Lord knows best who came with guidance from him and to whom will be the final home. Surely he will not prosper the unjust." Okay.
Wait a minute. Are we having another? Are we having another senior moment for Allah, where he's
Probably.
chronologically impaired again? Okay. Just so everybody knows, Allah is so chronologically impaired. He mentions this tale here. Moses, my Lord, knows best who. And we're talking about Moses, all right? And we've talked about the burning bush. We're talking about him coming before the Pharaoh, all right? And all of a sudden, you want to read this next header, please?
Which one? You're talking about 37?
No, I thought we read 37. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Muhammad confuses the building of the Tower of Babel with Noah's time with the time of Moses and Pharaoh. See also verses 40, 36.
So
Compare
again,
this.
chronologically impaired
Right.
little God. Again, I really believe this person who wrote this had traumatic brain injury. I mean, I don't have another explanation because there's so many errors here, chronological errors. It's not just it's so bad. I'm just
Okay, so we
one
go
thing to mess up the stories, and then he breaks them up and puts them in the wrong and doesn't communicate any one of them consistently. Traumatic brain injury would explain a lot of this, unfortunately.
Well,
Well,
okay.
38.
Hey, one question about that.
Sure.
I've never known anybody that had a traumatic brain injury before. I know some people that maybe had a little bit,
No, I've
but
worked with them. Yeah.
but how bad of brain injury would you have to be this bad though?
Well, you got to look at so you got people in wartime, and you get struck in the head with a sword. You get struck. If we're following Mohammedans, or whatever you want to call them during this time, Saracens, or again, they weren't called Mohammedans for quite some time, but you have these battles going on. So somebody gets struck in the head. They're not all there, and you could have this possible. I mean, I've worked with. I had a friend who had TBI pretty bad, and some of the stuff he would say, you'd sit there and wonder about, and some of the stuff was just normal. But you would wonder sometimes what he was talking about, and it might have been about the past. So that's the stuff I'm wondering. These, I personally think after going through this, I'm beginning to become more convinced that the author of the Quran is the victim of a traumatic brain injury, whether he calls himself Allah or not. If it's Muhammad, we if it's Muhammad that has, the seeress talk about seizures, they don't, they describe seizures. Let me put it that way.
Right.
And those would be temporal lobe seizures from the description. And neurologists have actually looked at those descriptions, and they're the ones who come out with the temporal lobe seizures, which have to do with hallucinations.
So I agree with what you're saying. The only thing is, you talked about, like, I don't know if you said it was your friend or whoever you worked with.
Yeah.
You said sometimes that he would talk normal, and then sometimes he would kind of be out there. But
Yeah.
here's the problem that I have. None of this makes sense. None of it's normal. So, I mean, if this is what you're saying, it's this traumatic brain injury on steroids. It's the worst case I think that we had ever heard of.
So I am, in my different roles in life, worked with a person, very, very senior person, where random stuff would be said. And nonsensical is what I would say, most of it. And that's closer to this. They would have more details. That's the big difference, I would say. Even the TBI person would have more details. So a TBI person generally would have more details, but I think there's a combination of TBI and con man here because of all these generalities. I'm not saying that I think there's a big combination of con man and TBI. I think if a con man had TBI, maybe this would work, but I don't think I think it's both. Because those generalities only come from when you're trying to con someone. You don't tell them the details because they don't exist. It's a very, very bad scam, by the way. I mean, this is the thing I don't get about the followers of Islam. How can you read this and not see that there's all these problems? I mean, okay, we were just talking about Noah. Now we're going back to Noah's time. Wait, wait. I mean, okay, Tower of Babel. It's even before Noah's time. All right. I'm sorry. It's after Noah's time. Noah's time, I should say. So 38. And Pharaoh said, "Oh, you, the leaders, you have no other God that I know but me. So kindle a fire to me, O Haman." And Haman isn't even from this story on the mud. So and this is somebody who does, I would say this is not brain injury. This is some befuddling of stories because he can't get stories straight, but so that I may go up. This is just so bad.
How do you kindle a fire on mud because mud is wet?
Kindle fire to me, O Haman. Okay, this is, well, again, if we have a desert god, he won't know that.
And also in Egypt, they didn't build towers; they built pyramids.
Yeah. Well, to them, they make. Again, we're talking about the desert god in the middle of Arabia. If he was actually there, they might not know the difference. But the concept of a tower, yeah, too much for them.
All right, so make to me a tower, so perhaps I may go up to the God of Moses, and surely I think he is of the liars.
And that's the Tower of Babel.
Right.
This is after the time of Noah. After Noah's Ark. This is just to put those two events together. There are psychological illnesses. There's so many things going on here. Oh my gosh, yeah. Chronological impairment is just, yeah, it's bad. These would be severe. This would be a severe case. I've not worked with what I would consider severe.
Yeah, and wasn't the Tower of Babel supposed to go all the way up to?
It would be touching the clouds at the very least. which might have been, when you think about that, I live near the lake, and you want to touch the clouds. When you live by the lake, I'm near Lake Ontario. There are days when you can touch the clouds by walking out of your house because of the fog. But I don't know how big this got. We don't know. It doesn't tell us. There's probably a reason it doesn't tell us. And today, what's the tallest building? Is it in Qatar now? I'm not sure where. I mean, they keep trying to build taller and taller buildings. We've discovered here that's not necessarily a wise thing in the States, because while you're building tall, you're also causing more problems structure-wise and delivery-wise of things like water and electricity. But if you've ever, if you live in Chicago area, and if you've ever been in the Sears Tower, there are certain days they actually close a good amount of the Sears Tower due to wind. Think about it.
Okay, and he became proud with his troops in the land without the truth, and they thought that they will not return to us. Now,
I don't even know who they're talking about, because it doesn't sound like Moses they're talking about.
no, this is Allah speaking, I guess, saying that Pharaoh and his army, they became proud because he told them to make him a tower so he can go up to the God of Moses. And surely I think he is of the liars. And he became proud with his troops in the land without the truth, and they thought that they will not return to us. Now, why is Allah using us?
I mean, is he partnering himself with Moses?
I mean, it would seem like, because there is no royal us, not that I'm aware of. So that makes
the royal we would allow for this, but again, that's a god and the ruler. It's not. It doesn't work the other way.
Yeah. Okay, in this version of the story, Pharaoh drowned as an infidel. And the other story, he became a believer. Notice that, again, the inconsistencies is like somebody doesn't remember what they wrote earlier.
Because they lie. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, that's the other part. If it's con man, this fits. But the chronological impairment is another issue. So con man, you got con man who can't, they tell so many lies, they can't remember what they said before.
Okay, 40. So we seized him and his troops. So we cast them into the sea. No, he didn't cast anything. They were following Moses. He collapsed the sea on them. He didn't cast them. Cast them implies that he threw them into the sea. I mean, he doesn't even know that they were following Moses and his people. So see, how was the end of the unjust? Okay. And we made them leaders who were invited to the fire, and on the resurrection day, they will not be helped. What does he mean? And we made them leaders who were invited to the what the hell is this guy talking about?
We have a problem here.
We got lots of problems, but
Do you make people leaders that you want to invite into hell?
not typically.
All right. So, and it's pretty clear. I mean, they're talking about made people leaders who are invited into the fire. Okay, you invite people in. I mean, I pretty much know if you don't understand the story of Moses, you don't know part of this period. But if you're just hearing this part, the fire would be an implication of hell. And on the resurrection day will not be. Here's the real story. When the people of Pharaoh came to go after the people of Israel, a pillar of fire separated Moses from Pharaoh. So think about that when we're reading this. Now, again, it says, and we're invited to the fire. So this pillar of fire set up a wall so that he kept Pharaoh's people separate. So where did Moses' people go while this fire wall was in effect? The people of that were with Moses, the Israelites, ran basically into the ocean because God told him to hold up his rod, and they ran across the Dead Sea. So again, this half storytelling, you can't tell, you can't understand this stuff. The con man, bad. There's so many bad things about this book. Oh my gosh, it's just bad. I mean, overall, but so the fire goes away, and then they might feel like they were invited. Why? Well, the fire goes away because the Israelites are safely on the other side of the ocean. Of the other side of the sea, I should say. This is just bad. Wow.
And we followed them in this world with a curse. And on the resurrection day, they will be among the despised. So Allah followed them with a curse?
Well, who is them?
Well, who is them? Because we
I
don't.
guess,
It sounds like they're following the Egyptians.
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
But wasn't they already cast into the sea?
Well, this is where we're getting them into the sea, and indeed we get. There's nothing. There's
No,
no here yet.
but Larry's got a good point, because in verse 40, he cast them into the sea already.
I mean, invited to the fire, and on the resurrection day they will not be helped. Well, we don't know they're in the sea yet from that
Yeah,
reading.
we do, because read 40. So we seized him and his troops. So we cast them into the sea.
So again, so you have the fire. It's so chronologically impaired, it's disgusting.
Yeah, the fire was to keep them from to give Moses some time to get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
So they stayed back until I guess they got enough courage, and they went right through the fire.
This is so chronologically impaired. I mean, every little detail that was given is chronologically wrong. This is again why I say TBI at the very least. But
And
I mean, I don't know how you messed this up this bad.
And I don't understand what 42 means when it says, and we follow them. That means Allah followed them in this world with a curse. What was that curse? Drowning them? And on the resurrection day, they will be among the despised. Okay.
So you I mean, get a good laugh at this. He wants to resurrect the dead so they can go back to hell.
I guess. I mean, anything's possible in Allah's world, kind of like a cartoon. All right, 43. And indeed, we gave Moses the book after we had destroyed the first generations, to become to the people a guidance and a mercy, perhaps they may remember. What is he talking here? And we destroyed
I don't think he knows.
The first generations. First generations of who? Who is he talking about?
We gave Moses the book after we destroyed. Okay. I know what they're talking about, but it's not clear here.
Is he talking about when God, one of the plagues was he took all the firstborn of Egypt?
We destroyed the first generations.
But it wouldn't be the first gen. Yeah, he took.
Okay,
he
so
took the
that would be the
firstborn.
firstborn to become, but he doesn't understand the word generation. Then that would be clear. That would okay. We destroyed the firstborn to become a people of. That doesn't follow. People of guidance doesn't make any sense there.
No.
And the mercy. That doesn't make any sense there. Perhaps they may remember. That may make sense.
Also,
but Allah doesn't remember.
Isn't there a problem by saying first and then saying generations?
Oh my gosh. This is so.
Because if there's more than one generation, then they all can't be first.
First generations. How many people have got? It can't be a people of guidance when you're eliminated at the age of, I mean, if you're eliminated, period. You can't be people of guidance. You can't be people of guidance if you're eliminated. This is just messed up. And that would be 43. And this is way even before that. So if we put this in order, we're reading. Okay, so we start with 43 here. And indeed, we gave Moses a book, and that's okay. That doesn't even happen until 43. Actually, so we have to start farther then. Okay, so we have to go farther into 43. Had destroyed the first generations to become the people of guidance, which again, we'll just destroy the first generations. Then we go up to the fire part, okay? And we talk about that. Then we go up to verse 40. That was 43. We went to 40 to 41. We're talking about the fire. We're going to 40. They've already raced through. The fire's gone away. They're racing through, and Allah physically throws them into the sea, which never happened. And then we get Moses getting the books, which is way after. So the book, okay. Allah doesn't know that Moses wrote 5 books. And it just tells you Allah is just such a small God.
There's a problem. Allah doesn't understand timelines.
Well, as I said, chronological impairment. I mean, that's the technical terminology. Allah is chronologically impaired. I mean, it's kind of interesting to do this from my perspective as a retired special ed teacher. So yeah.
Is there anywhere in the Quran that says that Allah has to bring them a message before he destroys the people?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so here Allah doesn't abide by his own words, right? Because he destroyed the people, then brought the book.
No, he would say that Moses was the messenger. Yeah. Moses, and he called Moses and Aaron messengers.
Yeah.
So he would say that was allowed. But the problem is, when it gets even funnier, is they also consider the Hebrew people, the children of Israel, Egyptians.
Yeah.
Again, chronological impairment and nutso at the same time. I don't know what else to call it. Con man, put all these things together. I mean, you can get a gobbledygook, I guess, but I mean, I've worked with homeless people who could spout some of this stuff, but I think even they have more details.
44. And you were not on the western side when we completed the commandments to Moses, and you were not among the witnesses. What does he mean? You were not on the western side. Western side of what?
Yeah.
45.
All I can think of is you were on the other side of the ocean, on the other side of the sea. I mean, that's all that can make sense.
I don't know. 45. But we raised up generations whose age were lengthened. No, actually, if you read the Bible, people kind of shrunken as far as the length of how long you lived. Okay.
Yeah.
And you were not dwelling among the family of the Midian to recite our verses to them. Who's he talking? But we were descenders. But we were descenders.
Okay, the Midianites. Oh, he's so messed up. Okay, so they meet the Midian, and at some point he picks up his father-in-law, and because his father-in-law does go with him, so they while they're out. This is okay. So the Midianites are with them. I mean, they're pretty much with them because his father-in-law goes with them. So they had to go through when they were on their way to this beach before they leave. This is again, Alice so chronologically impaired. He's just it's a mess. This is a freaking mess.
Right. Hey, Paul, can you highlight the verse, because I think it's got like 5 minutes, so we can stop. So
okay.
Just highlight 46, because that'll be saved, so that way I'll know that we
I'm
pick up
pushing
on
that button.
we
I
pick
didn't
up
realize
on
we're there yet. Yeah.
we pick up on 46.
I mean, it says something. I mean, I want you to think about it. If you have a story in your family, one of the things I do when I teach children, and I have stories, that I'll tell them, and if I was to tell you a story that's so bad, and let's say it's about something about you in your life, and I told this story so bad, and then I walk away, and you have time to talk to those people around them, and you tell them that's about your life, and it's told so badly and so wrongly, you just sit there and you start laughing. You can't help yourself. I mean, you're like, what is this guy, an idiot? I mean, how wrong could you get the story? I mean, that's the kind of things you'd be saying. If it was, this is why the Hebrew people as a whole, the Israelites, are a denial of Islam just for existing. And this is one of the reasons why Islam is constantly trying to kill the Jews and the Christians, because our very existence is a statement of denial that Islam is real. I mean, in any sense. We can sit here and laugh at this, which, actually, I'm not laughing. I'm saying that when I'm talking about chronologically impaired, I'm talking about TBI, I'm talking about common language. These are serious statements of pretty much fact, and it's not laughing. It's saying this guy needs serious help, but he's long gone.
So, who do you think the actual revelation was to then? Do you think, so let's say Muhammad's getting these revelations. Who is he supposed to be speaking to?
Are you talking about the whole book?
Well, I guess this part right here.
I don't think he's speaking to anyone. I think when I look at this, he's supposed to be writing down because you got to remember, Muhammad can't write. He's got a scribe who's writing stuff down, and this is the other problem. If Muhammad's the one with TBI, if he's the one who's writing this, he's getting someone to write this down. I mean, let's say Allah or the Mr. Sock Puppet or Muhammad communicate this stuff correctly to as best as they can, as it's written here, down to the scribe. The scribe writes it in this order. He's only communicating to a scribe, I guess, at the most I could say. But even if he would take these stories, and this is the thing he was known for. This is where people in Arabia would sit there and laugh. And this is why he goes and kills people in Mecca, because they start laughing at him, because he goes and tells stories like this so badly. They make poems about him being an idiot. I mean, if you want to find out if I'm telling you the truth, go read the Surah al-Rasul. I mean, this is the first Surah. Go read it, because they do make fun of him. They do consider him an idiot. It's in his own story about his own life.
90 seconds.
So, yeah, those are the people he communicates. He tries to tell these stories, and they're just so... That's the only reason I can say that this is being communicated. It's in the series.
So yeah, I guess that's something that I need to focus on more and emphasize with talking to Muslims is that, people did think that Muhammad was delusional, and, obviously this is why when you read all this crap that he's revealing, it's no wonder they thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Larry, they'll throw all their sources under the bus. They'll say that Surah Rasulullah is not trustworthy, that Ibn Hashem and Ibn Ishaq, they weren't, they forgot stuff and they embellished stuff. I mean, they'll throw Allah under the bus if it serves their need.
The thing, again, is it doesn't matter which surah you read, because it's in the Quran. In the
Right.
Quran, they keep saying, I mean, they say he's bewitched. They say, they'll talk about jinn, things like that, which are demons. Okay. And if they're saying these things, they're implying that he's a nutcase. He's demon possessed, even in
10
the Quran.
seconds.
Why? Because he can't communicate clearly. He sounds like, I say he sounds like a nutcase because he can't tell a story chronologically in order. So you'd be wondering.
Well, I mean, even the hadiths. I don't know if this one is a tribute to Aisha, but even the hadiths say that he had black magic done to him,
Yes.
that he imagined things, that he claims to have gotten revelation as ringing bells, although we find out that the bell is an instrument of Satan. And what kind of nonsense is this? You get revelation as ringing bells? How do you? It's
Remember,
almost like
this is the guy who runs outside when it rains and he's naked.
I
Again, nutcase.
mean,
I'm sorry.
I mean, I know Morse code,
Yeah.
but ringing bells, was that like the great grandfather of Morse code?
I'm going to say it's possible to communicate with bells. I will say that. It's possible to communicate in many different ways. If you can read music, there are ways you can write and communicate with code. I'm not going to deny that. This is why many years ago, Native Americans or Africans would communicate with drums. Okay, it's possible.
But Paul, and those people communicated. The other party knew the code.
That's what I'm getting at. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But here we have an unclear God. We have an unclear communicator. We have if you read the Quran, here's the thing I'm going to say to everybody: as much as sad as what we're saying, and if you're listening and you are a follower or a lover of Sharia, my suggestion: take some time, use your head, think critically, ask yourself, is this little God worth serving? And frankly, he has to be a little God because he doesn't know very much. Leave Islam, open the Bible. I'd say start in Matthew. Find out about Jesus. My suggestion, find out about Jesus. Give your life to the God who loves you first. He loved you first. You didn't get a choice. He loved you before you even had a choice. He loved you while you were a Muslim. He loved you while you were a sinner. Give him a choice, a chance to change your life. Give him a chance to change your life. All you have to do is give him that chance. All right, you don't have to change. That's the thing I'm telling you. God will do that for you.
I mean, the other option is to believe in a God who you don't know anything. How do you know? Because it's in the Quran where Allah is saying, "Yeah, I'm going to make a part of humans and a part of the jinn for fuel of the fire." How do you know that you're not part of that fuel? Then you have the hadiths where it says that Allah creates you for hell or heaven before you are even born. Where is the choice? You have no choice. If Allah creates you for hell, you're going to hell. So all this bullcrap that Muslims tell you, do a good deed or do good deeds and blah blah blah. Well, that contradicts what Allah is saying, that Allah has already created you, meaning he's predetermined your life. And if he says you're going to go to hell before you're born, you're going to go to hell.
I mean, he's already told everybody he doesn't want to guide us. Yeah. But I've already found the living God. So I'm happy that I don't have this little God leading my life around, because the God who loved me first found me.
And if Allah says that those that he misguides, nobody can guide them. So all the dawah that the Muslims do on Clubhouse and Pal Talk and all of this to try to convince us that Islam is
It's
true.
useless. It's something they shouldn't be doing.
It's useless because only Allah can guide us, and He clearly doesn't want to guide any of us here in the panel because we're going against everything that Muslims believe in. So again, you
Well,
might as
I would,
well.
the funny thing, while you're saying it's going against everything the Muslims believe in, we're reading the Quran.
Yeah.
We're not making things up. And this is translated by an Egyptian who knows Arabic. All right. So we're not going to read the Arabic. We're going to read the translation, an exact translation. All right. And when we've had questions, we go back and we look at places where they call it word for word. I'm saying call it because what we've discovered is many times it's not word for word. But why be cowardly? Why only look for the Quran to be in Arabic? Or do you think your God is too small to actually allow you to read it in your own language? Again, this is the difference between a real God and a little God. I mean, it's so simple. Find out for yourself.
Why would God force 98% of the population to have to learn a language? And it's not an easy language. It's always in the top 10 of the hardest languages to learn. Arabic is one of them. Chinese is another one of them. Okay, so you're forcing people to have to learn another language that's foreign to them just so that they can understand the message of a book that says it's clear and every verse is explained. And what have we seen? Most of the chapters start off with stuff that nobody knows what it is.
Well, yeah, I just realized that today. Think about it. Like you're saying, Muslims have to first learn Arabic just to start to read the Quran. There's no understanding there. Then they have to go to the Hadith and the scholars. So technically, they would have to go and study everything that the people.
Well, I would say they have to go to the Quran first. I mean, but the truth is, this is where the sad, sorry truth is, this is where Lloyd is more right in some ways than I want him to be, with where he's saying Muslims get 99% of what they know about Islam from the Sharia. And why is that? Because they don't know how to physically, everything they're told about how to pray comes from the Sharia. It's not in the Hadith, it's not in the Quran, it's in the Surah. It's in the Sharia. It's not all this stuff that they know that they haven't found. When they start to learn about what it means to be a follower of Islam, it's not in the Quran. It's not in the Surah. It's not in the Hadith. It's in the Islamic law, Sharia. That to me is shocking. But yeah.
All right, and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end the show. 2 minutes. 2 hours and 8 minutes, not bad. Everybody that was on the live chat, thank you very much. All the mods, thank you. Darcy, Dragon, Speed, Built for Speed. I don't remember everybody.
Michael.
Yeah, Mikkel. Okay.
Mikkel. Yeah.
And who else was here?
Built for Speed.
Well, we know Jesus because Jesus is here, Larry.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Now, I know for some of you, Marion's not here today. I know for her, it's already Monday. But enjoy. God bless you. And I think I might do a show tomorrow at 6:00.
Sounds good.
Maybe Tuesday, except for Thursday, because Paul, you have your show. Yep. And we definitely will finish this chapter because I think this one only has 88 verses.
Oh, we're gonna finish it next time. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll probably finish this one, and then probably even because I think after the last chapter that we read, I think there's only one more chapter that has more than like 150 verses. Everything else is going to be under 100 verses. And I honestly didn't think that the last one we were going to finish. We actually did over 100 verses in one sitting. I think that's a record.
It was a lot of disjointed.
Yeah.
unfinished
And
sentences.
it was just repetition of
Yeah.
the same prophets.
The copy paste chapter.
Yeah, the copy paste chapter. So thank you guys. Thank you for coming as always. If you're on Clubhouse, feel free to join me there. If you haven't seen my debate, I got to warn you, it's 18 and over. But the reason I posted it gives you a good inkling of what Muslims, how they behave when they don't get their way. So thank you. God bless you. And we are done. And
Night, everybody.
broadcast.